Well, hello and welcome to everyone who's joining us today for this community webinar. And again, really grateful and excited really to see such a great project that we're going to go behind the scenes of today. So we're really lucky today because we're joined by Wendella from Lowell. Hi, Wendella.
Hi. Hi,
And also,
everyone.
and also Law from Deloitte. Hi, Law.
Hi.
And this project's been nominated for so many awards, and the team has done an amazing job on this project. So we're really lucky today as we're going to go behind the scenes and learn all about how the project's been built from the start right up to where we are now. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the community first, and then we're going to launch straight into this webinar. So just a little bit of housekeeping about the webinar today. You're very welcome to ask any questions. You can do that in the Q&A, or you can do it in the chat wherever you feel comfortable. As we go during the session, if the question is relevant, we might answer that at the time, or we might save it till the end, depending on what the question is. We're going to record this webinar, so if you do miss some of it or you need to leave for any reason, don't worry, the webinar will be recorded and you can watch it tomorrow or a time that's convenient for you. And that's going to be available in the Taseria community. And if you do think of questions after the webinar today, or you feel more comfortable asking questions after the webinar, you're also very welcome to follow up with questions after the webinar today as well. If you're not already a member of the Taseria community, so you may just be looking at this on YouTube, for example, then do come along and make a free account on the Taseria community. The website is there, it's just taseria.community. And you can also find lots of information about Taseria on our help site as well. So if you're looking for more technical information, you can find that on the help site. So without me talking too much more, we'd love to really find out at the starting point, Wendella, could you tell us all about Lowell?
Absolutely. First of all, I must just say thank you for inviting us, and thank you for everyone who's here today to listen. We obviously really love our own story, to be honest, so we're really happy to be able to share that with you. So thank you very much for inviting us. So I will start to talk a little bit about Lowell so you understand what kind of company I'm working for. So Lowell is one of Europe's largest players in credit management and collection services. And what we specifically do is that we help our consumers to regain their financial control. And more concretely, what that means is that we help them to develop individual development plans so they can be sort of independent when it comes to their financial situation. And I also want to highlight that we are a mission-driven company. We are here to make credit work better for all. That's our mission. And that means that we not only work with our consumers to help them to find a sustainable way to sort of manage their debts, but we also see that we play a more important role in a bigger perspective for the society. That is what we call all we are here to make credit better for all. And what does that mean really? So that means that we actually see that we have a social responsibility to ensure that the credit works for both companies that sell goods and services and for the consumers. Because if we can sort of help our consumers to regain a better control, they are better positioned and they can actually start to spend more money as well. And in that way, we sort of support the financial cycle, if you see what I mean. I don't know if it makes sense, but I'm trying to explain sort of how the business works. But we have a look sort of, we can look just about the company, some hard facts. So we operate in 3 regions. We have 8 countries, and we are approximately 4,000 employees. And we were founded in UK in 2004, but in the Nordics, we have actually been operating more than 100 years. So we are a company that have merged together. I will talk a little bit about that later, I think. But I think I stopped there as a presentation of Lowell.
Well, thanks so much. That's a great introduction, and I know that I'm probably saying the name wrong there, so I'll get it right.
No worries, no worries.
Thanks very much for that. So, if you're just thinking about the beginning of the project and before you got to the great stage that you're at now, and think about what you actually needed right at the start of this project, we'd love to know what you needed really.
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe I want to sort of share some context first, because as a company, we have really grown a lot the last, 20 years maybe. And we have sort of grown through mergers and acquisitions. And that means that we have a lot of different histories and different cultures in the company. So what we saw a need and what we wanted to achieve is to become sort of one company, one Lowell, one company, both in terms of sort of working smart in terms of systems and technology, etc., but also in the culture and in our mindset to really build that common culture, so to say. But we also have really high growth ambitions, and we also want to be the best place to work. We want to, like everyone else now, really to attract people so we get the best talents to our company. And we all really believe that great leadership is the key to make this happen. So that's the background to why we decided that we wanted to upskill all our leaders and to sort of launch a leadership program that targets all our leaders. And maybe just to share with you that this is nothing we haven't done this before. This was really new. We had sort of leadership programs in different countries, and we have had sort of ad hoc solutions, but we had never done something sort of common on a group perspective for all our leaders. So just to put that in a context, and just to sort of see, so what did we want to achieve then? What was really the goal with this program? So first of all, we want to strengthen all our leaders in all regions, regardless of level, and when it comes to developing identified key capabilities. And we'll talk about them a little bit later as well. But we also want to support networking and collaboration across the whole company, because we really think that we can benefit from all the great experiences, knowledge that we have in the company if we start to work even better together than we did before, so to say. And obviously, we also want to drive positive engagement and to become and to be this sort of attractive employer that we want to be. And also, we want to give a chance and opportunity for personal development for our leaders. So that were sort of our main goals with the program.
And, yeah, so if I say, like, why did you choose to create an online program?
Yeah, there were different.
Is it me or is it when the line?
I thought it was me for a second. I think
obviously. And the first one you can see there was also people together. Yes. Sorry.
Hi, sorry, we had a little bit of an internet break there. So just for us at the start of that section, Laura and I weren't sure if it was us or it was. I think it was your one. So if we could just yeah. So why did you choose an online distance program?
And you hear me now?
We can hear you now. Yeah.
Oh, that's perfect. Okay, super. So what I said was that there were different reasons, but the main reasons were that first of all, we wanted to launch this in the middle of the pandemic. So there wasn't the possibility to actually bring people together. So that was really one big reason to why we did this. The other one was that we are situated, as I told you in the beginning, in 8 different countries. So bringing a lot of leaders together to one facility, we all know that that costs a lot of money. And also, when it comes to, I think the biggest barrier for leaders, probably you on the call here know that as well, or experience that time is really something that is a big barrier for leaders to actually take trainings, do trainings. So that was also a reason to make it easy for them to have the time to do it, and also the cost perspective. And the third, the last thing that I wanted to highlight here is that we also believe in sort of modern way of working. And we really believe that sort of traditional way, when you just do something like for 3 days and then it's fine. We don't really believe in that, but we rather believe in the modern way of learning, which is sort of extend the learning over a period of time. And the great thing now is also that the technique can really support that. So we really believed in making this sort of extended journey for our leaders to really make the knowledge stick.
Yeah, brilliant. Obviously, COVID was such a huge shakeup. It's great to see that you took advantage in some ways and started to create something great. Yeah. And as part of this, you decided to work with Deloitte. So why did you choose to work with Deloitte?
Yeah, so we actually scanned the market, and what we were looking for was a company that had sort of experienced working with international companies, and that could sort of prove that they had success in delivering sort of international leadership development programs. That was one criteria. And the other criteria was actually that they could support us with a technical solution that was needed to make this sort of 100% digital. So those were our 2 main criteria. So when we searched the market, we actually chose Deloitte because we thought that they could could check on both these two most important criteria. So that was the main reason, and that's something we don't regret. Actually, we have had a fantastic teamwork together, so it's been really, really good.
I'm also very happy with that, by the way.
That's great. No, it's great to hear that it's going so well as a partnership there as well. And I wonder if Laurie could tell us a little bit about Deloitte and some of the services that you offer.
Sure. Hi everyone. My name is Laure. Sorry, I lost my voice last week. I hope you can understand me and you can hear me well. And I'll try to get through this webinar in one time. So the Deloitte Workforce Transformation team is actually the team that is focused on everything regarding learning. And I'm also part of that. So I'm a senior consultant in the learning technology team. And in the Workforce Transformation team, we have 3 different disciplines. So we have the strategy team who focuses on upskilling and reskilling. We have the studio team who more focuses on content and e-learning and learning material. And then the learning technology team who focuses on the technology, obviously, which is the platforms, the LMS, the LXP, and all technology that can support learning journeys, learning programs, and so on and so forth. So that's what we do, and we work already with the Theta more than 10 years right now. The whole team is Theta certified. We win some awards now and then, but yeah, we really like working with Theta for technology projects.
Thanks, Laurie. And yeah, appreciate you talking today. And I know that last week you were a bit ill, but yeah, thanks so much for coming today to find the strength to come and talk to us. Yeah, there's some other really great case studies available through the community as well. There's another one called The Client, and there's a really great case study as well that you can go and have a look at as well if you're interested in seeing more of Deloitte's work in detail. Okay, so it sounds like you had really ambitious plans. And how did you start to build your solution?
Yeah, actually, it's these are the capabilities. I can start a little bit further back, actually, from the start, because it started actually last year, in the beginning of last year, when we decided to do this. We really needed to understand what do we actually need? What skills do our leaders actually need? So we did some comprehensive research or needs analysis to start with, to be honest, to understand what are the common needs for all our leaders. So that's where we started. And we also worked very closely together with our, what we call Group Exco, which is our global management team, to really work together with them. And we created, from the analysis we did and from their thoughts on our ambitions and our strategy, etc., we created a leadership philosophy, because we thought it was important that we had sort of a common view of what kind of leadership is it actually that we think Lowell will be needing to sort of move into the future and the high ambitions that we have. So we started by creating this philosophy. And after that, we also created and decided on 4 key capabilities that we thought, here we go, yes. So 4 key capabilities that we thought that this is capabilities that we believe that all our leader needs, regardless where you are in the organization and regardless experience, etc., and the role that you have. But everyone, all leaders need to know about these. So I would say that's actually where it started, and that's where we also started to work the program from. This is the platform, so to say, where we started to build the program.
Okay, and if I sort of say, what did the program sort of look like?
Should I continue, Laurie?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, we thought it was important to build a journey that was sort of spread over time. So we created a program that lasted altogether 4.5 months, and it was built on 4 sprints. And as you can see there, the sprints were sort of based on each capability that we have identified. So just to give an overview, we started with the program kickoff to let people and participants understand what to expect, but also actually to introduce them to the technology and to understand Taseria, how they would work with that. We used Miro board as if you don't know what that is, that's sort of a Miro board, maybe you say, that's like a whiteboard you use in digital classroom sessions. So the kickoff was really to sort of make sure that everyone was set up for success to be able to sort of go through this program. But then we had each month, we had a full day classroom session, digital classroom session, I should say, where we sort of shared theory, discussed, worked together, a lot of breakout rooms, a lot of sort of exercises for the learners on each sprint. And after that, we left them sort of on their own, we can say, for 4 weeks. But they were not really on their own because, first of all, they had learning teams. So they had 5 or 6 people that they were working together with, and they were sort of meeting up once a week to share sort of experience. Has it gone? What did you try out? What can you share with me? Gave each other coaching and feedback, etc. And this is also where Totara, I'm also know that I don't say that in the correct way, Totara.
No, yeah, I think it's,
Totara.
yeah, that's great.
I say Totara, that's easier. So that's where Totara comes in, because we thought it was super important then to have a digital platform where everything happened, where all the information was, all the theory. We had experiments and quests that we called it, that the learners could pick and choose from to actually practice on the job, on their job, so to say, in everyday work. So yeah, so it was built on these 4 sprints.
That's amazing. Thanks so much, Linda. Let's go into so much detail there. And no, it's great to explain that to us. I think it's really helpful. And I think if we question a little bit about some of the instructional design or the design side of it, and Laurie, I think you had some interesting ideas about how you wanted to approach this project.
Yeah, exactly. So once we knew how the content would be structured and how the learning journey would look like, we focused on 3 different streams. So we made wireframes based on what that's for the technology part I'm speaking now. So we created the wireframes to see what are the functionalities that we need. What is the workflow that will support the learning journey? How does everything connect with each other? How will things function? So without thinking of layout, without thinking of how things will look like, more from a technical and from functional point of view, what's it going to be? That's something we always do with wireframing, to make sure that we just know what we are building without losing ourselves in the details. And then the second stream is the storyline we put on top of it. It's for a learning journey. I think it's very important to make sure that the engagement of the participants is as high as possible, because we can create programs, and we can create content, that we can create everything we want. But if you lose the participants along the way, then you don't reach your goal, and then it was all for nothing. So we want to add a storyline on the learning journey to improve or to strengthen the engagement, and to make sure that the participants stay from the beginning to the end. And what we did in the beginning of our project is that we thought of different storylines, and we talked with Lowell about them, what it could be, how the story could go. And then the 3 first options were, we first had the compass, where someone was ready to conquer the world, and then they had the 4 capabilities, who were north, south, east, and west. The second story was the James Bond theme, where they had to go on a secret mission to discover the capabilities and see and learn from the mission they were on. And the third one was the Lowell of Tomorrow, which was in the mindset of Tomorrowland and festival theme, where they could discover the different stages and the different music that were on there, and to think about the Lowell of Tomorrow in the Tomorrowland kind of way. But then in the end, but probably Wendla will come back to it in a second. I'm not going to tell it right now, not yet. So the third stream, after the storyline, it was the learning assets. So what we do in the learning journey is think about, okay, what are now the different learning activities that a learner has to go through, and how can we strengthen them from a technology point of view? So which learning assets can we create to make sure that the participants are guided, are supported in their learning journey? For example, the self-assessment was one part of the learning journey, where the participant has to fill it in at the beginning and at the end. So we created that self-assessment as a learning asset also in Taseria as part of the journey. So they can always go back to it. They have a digital format of it, and they can also see their results in the form of a spider graph.
Thanks.
And that's how, sorry.
So that's great, Laurie. Thank you. I was just thinking we're going to take a closer look at these as well soon, hopefully, and have a little demo. So that's going to be great to see. But just to give an outline, it's amazing to see all of this. And I know there's lots of people on the webinar at the moment, and perhaps people watching the webinar afterwards who might be really struck by that part that you said. If you lose the learner during the journey, then you lose all the point of it. And I wanted to really ask that about storytelling. And I wonder if people as well who are in the webinar today feel free to say if you use storytelling. And I wanted to know from Mandela and Nori how you've found that process of creating stories. Using James Bond always helps. How have you found that's really helped the program that you've created?
Well, are you going?
Should I go? Yeah, should I go? Yeah, I think that has been extremely helpful to really have a particular story behind this particular program. Because first of all, as we talk about, Matt, it's so important to engage the learner, and especially when they are on a digital platform, when they are on their own, it needs to be engaging. And if you have a story that you can follow that is exciting, and you are on this journey, and you can use both sort of images that connects to this, what do you call it, this story, but also how you express yourself, the words you're using, you connect to the same story. So it gets really exciting. So I think it's both important for the platform itself to make the platform engaging, but I also think it's super important for the communication part when we are promoting the program, because it becomes much more exciting if we can also talk about the story when we talk, not saying that we're just launching a new leadership development program, but rather we will take you on an exploration and blah, 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 if you see what I mean. So it really helps the communication as well. So I think it's super important.
And Laurie, did you have some more thoughts there? Are you going to share a small story there?
Well, no, we know from educational research that telling a story is always sticking longer than following a program without a story. If you think for your own, you will remember better if someone tells a story that makes sense and where you're engaged, than if you follow the course who doesn't have a story behind it. So that's also why we think it's so important. And then for this particular case, I just told you there were 3 different stories that we came up with. But another very important aspect, which we also had as a challenge in this project, is that the story needs to fit with the audience and with what the organization needs. And that's why in the end, after a lot of brainstorming and talking to each other how the story would look like, we decided to go for a 4th story, which is now the explorer, the passion of the explorer, where you go on quests and you discover the different capabilities by exploring new grounds.
Yeah, that's great to hear. You can see Stuart saying in the chat as well that they've started to use gamification as a learning style and using characters as a storyline as well. Yeah, I think just like you say, it's sort of the opposite of that idea of like compliance-based checkbox learning, isn't it? It's completely different.
Exactly. Can I highlight something there as well?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
We actually, just what Laurie said, we actually, first when we saw these 3, it was like, oh, we cannot choose, everyone is super, super good on the first first look at them. But then when we start to think about Lowell and what do we stand for James Bond, does that really suit us? And so it was a really good sort of exercise for us as well to really feel, what is it who are we really? And what do we stand for? What do we want to stand for, etc. So it was a very good exercise to do, actually. So and important to actually do that sort of properly, so you don't just pick something, but that it actually fits your company and your culture. So highlighting what you said, Laurie.
Great, thanks so much. It's really interesting concept. I know we could talk about storytelling for a lot longer, but we're going to move on a little bit. So yeah, just going back to using technology really, and you decided to use Taseria for this project. Why is it that you chose Taseria specifically?
Well, I think the most important reason here is that it's a combination, of course. We knew that the program would work with cohorts, with labs, and with gatherings that we wanted to cover in the seminar functionalities. So we knew that that part was already covered in Theta before we started developing actually. But the other big advantage of choosing Theta is the customizable software. Because you didn't see it yet, but I will show you in a minute how the platform looks like. And we, for example, we chose for storytelling, which is a way to even strengthen your storyline in a learning journey, because you will be scrolling horizontally instead of vertically, which takes you on the learning journey like in a chronological order. So, for example, that is something that we developed ourselves in Theta and that we put in it, which makes it's very nice and very personal for Lowell. And then the fact that we know leaders are also very busy people, so we want them to have the mobile version as well. And we know that Theta is very scalable. So those are the three main reasons that we chose for Theta.
Yeah, thanks, Laurie. Yeah, I'm really excited to see this in a minute or two when we go down, because obviously most learning tend to see it vertically, but be able to see it horizontally is going to be great to see as well. Okay, so if we just think about some of the impact or the results of your solution, I wonder if you're able to share any of that impact with us today.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So we are super happy with the results. I must say there has been challenges, obviously, but we are really happy with the results. And maybe to share a few before I show this one, maybe I can just share that. Yeah, maybe you can keep this. That's super good.
Okay.
That's good. That's sorry.
That's right.
Sorry, Matt. That's good. That's good. So first of all, we are happy because we were nervous, to be honest, about making this 100% digital. We had never done that before. So it was like, oh, will people want to sign up in the first place? Will people actually have the energy to be in long classroom trainings? Will they be able to handle the Theta platform by themselves, etc.? So we were really worried about that, but it really worked. We are really, really happy with the results. And we were actually thinking of, since we launched this in the middle of the pandemic, we were thinking of making this more blended learning, maybe change after a while, but we have decided to keep it like this because we see so many benefits and it's really working. So that was one really good thing about it. And then we also saw that these learning teams, that I can really recommend that, because that also helps, not only enables people to connect and collaborate with new people across the company, but it also is sort of, it gives a higher commitment. You have someone to commit to, which helps people to actually continue their journey, not prioritizing other things. So that was really a success, I must say, as well. And obviously we can see, and we also hear that people are really appreciating, getting to know people across regions, and also that they are starting to work and collaborate much more than they had before. So that is also one really good benefit. Let's see so continuous learning is that what we also tried, we had this learning quests. I think we should highlight that as well. So we gave them, or they could choose rather, different quests to work on during the sprints. And what we thought was super important was that we will not have any fake cases to work on, but we want them to have real cases to work on. So we wanted them to integrate this in their work, because as we mentioned before, leaders are so busy. So coming up and trying out and do sort of other things rather than that is connected to actually what benefits their everyday work, that's the most important. So that really worked as well. Yeah, sorry, I'm talking too much.
No, it's great. It's great. No, I'm sure it resonates with a lot of people, especially bringing people together from different countries and different places, even from the same organization. It's hard to bring people together sometimes. So finding a way to do that is amazing. And we've got some harder numbers here.
Yeah, can I just add one more thing? That
of course you can add anything you like.
That is not metrics or anything, but actually what really was a challenge as well, but what really has been a success is that we mixed levels of experience and seniority, because that was really part of the goal, to let people to connect regardless what they do and what level they have. And that was also a bit sort of, how will this go? But that really worked out very well as well. And people have really talked about that afterwards. And having sort of a manager from the top management team in the same sort of training as yourself. That has been sort of, that has been really, really great to see those connections that people have made.
Do you think it makes them appear more human in a way, or more
Absolutely.
accessible? Yeah.
Absolutely, exactly. And understanding, I think sometimes you tend to stop at your own layer maybe, and you don't really know what's happening in the organization. But this really made people, to understand what's happening out there. So that was good. But some metrics then. So maybe we can show on the left-hand side, it says capacity. So maybe one interesting metric could be that we had 150 seats available to start with. We had 3 cohorts with 50 seats in each cohort. And we were really nervous, as I mentioned, will people even sign up for this program or not? But we were very happily surprised. So all seats were taken in 5 days after the launch. And we actually had a wait list for 45 people after these 5 days as well. So that was like, phew, people were really engaged to jump on. We also had, I think it was 12% drop-offs. Maybe that could be interesting to know as well. And we are quite happy with that number because since it's a digital training, so 12% I think it's a rather good figure. And then what else does it say on this one? Yeah, the completion rate was about 70%, which we all think is also quite okay. And then if we just look at some sort of KPIs, I will not go too deep on this, but we measured, obviously we have some KPIs for the program. And one was that we measured we did a self-assessment, as Lowell talked about in the beginning. So they did a self-assessment on the key capabilities in the start of the program and then in the end of the program. And that, as you can see here on this slide, they have increased. And maybe just, that's not always the way it is actually, because as you probably know, the more we know about something, the more we understand how little we actually know, if you see what I mean. So sometimes we actually rate ourselves lower when we know more about the topic. So we are happy for that result. And also one last thing is that we also, one KPI is our engagement score, both the overall engagement score, but also we have some targeted questions for leaders. How does your leader give you feedback? And some different sort of target leadership scores. And all of them have actually significantly increased, and obviously we cannot thank Explore for all of that, but I think we have a sort of some part of it at least. So that's really great.
It's a great point as well about the fact that when you start to learn about something, you realize actually I don't know anything about this topic, and and so it's great to see you've got such good results there coming through as well. We've got a question just coming from Zara asking about the main features that we used in the platform. Laurie is going to give us a demo shortly, so we will come back to that in a second, Zara. Just we are listening to your questions, and if you do have other questions, feel free to post those at the moment. We'll come back to them as well. And a big part of this platform, which I was personally super impressed with, and something that a lot of the Taseria community as well, I know that people have these questions. So a lot of the time people will spend a long time creating a platform, making it perfect, trying to get it right for their learners, but not necessarily promoting it hugely. And I thought this is an exceptional part of this project that you've all done really well. And I wondered if you could share any tips or advice on how you promoted your platform to make sure people came to use it.
Absolutely. Should I start, Laura, and then you jump in, or is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, and I can just agree with you, Matt. I also experienced that we usually put a lot of energy into the program and the content and all that, but then we forget about sort of involving, engaging, promoting, communicating. So that was really something we set up from the start when we planned the program. What will the communication plan look like, both in terms of promoting the program, but also for the learner perspective throughout the program. So there are sort of two different communications parts, if you could call it like that. So what we did, just to give you an idea, is that we started to really work with, as I mentioned, the group exco, our top management team. We really involved them from the start and kept them in the loop all the time. I think that was the key. We also had Steerco, which was senior managers, that was part of the sort of development and so on. So they got to understand what this was. They got to be ambassadors and so on, talking about the programs in the organization. We had a reference group that we met up every month that actually was part of creating the program. They also became ambassadors talking about the program in the organization, and other key stakeholders like people service within the people team as well. And we had actually, for the top 60 managers, we had 2 workshops when we were sort of developing the program. So they got to know the capabilities a little bit earlier, if you see what I mean. So they could feel ownership of the capabilities, as well as sort of, driving and being ambassadors of the program. And then we had a pilot. We had a pilot training before we launched. And during that pilot, we made sure to promote, and we have Yammer. I don't know if you people on the call know Yammer, but I'm sure you do. So we promoted and shared sort of stories and images from the pilot to start to, engage people. And then obviously we used Yammer for when it was time to launch. We actually start to talk about the program there as well. But then we also had Totara, which was one of the things with Totara that I really liked, and why we chose it was that there is a fantastic communications ability in the system. So when the program has started, we could both create mails to all the participants saying that now is 2 days left for your next class or virtual classroom session. Get ready, go into the platform and have a look. So we could sort of tailor-make mails like that to the participants, which made it much easier for us, obviously, and then do it manually. But it also has a functionality that we can nudge the learners. So if the system can recognize if people are falling behind, for example, you get a little nudge in your inbox saying, "Hi, I see that you're falling a little bit behind. What can we do to support, and how is it going?" Or if you're really, doing well, they also get a nudge like, "Wow, you're doing fantastic. Keep on going." So there was a fantastic system, I think, automatic system in Totara throughout the whole program, nudge the learner to not forget about sort of the program and their tasks, so to say. Do you want to add something? I'm talking like, do you want to add something, Laura?
No, you already said a lot, Dita. The thing you said about the automatic mails from Totara that are sent, it's also I know we talked a lot about what are important moments in the learning journey that they need to have a nudge, or they need to have a reminder. For example, those notifications before a seminar session, or the nudges when they're falling behind, just to make it as easy as possible for them to find their way to the platform and in the journey. But still, by keeping also the balance to not just send them everything in a mail, because then they won't come back to the platform either, because they know I'll receive a mail for that. I'll get it when it's time. So also there, I really thought about and worked out a timeline when a participant should receive something to make them them engaged enough. It's again about engagement, and to support them in the journey as well.
That's amazing. Thank you both for that. I think that's super important what you're saying, and involving all the stakeholders, using Yammer, using your internal chat, using. Did you also make some posters as well? Did you put those up around the offices as well to let people know?
To be honest, we had planned to, but COVID was there, so no
Okay.
people were at the offices, so no use to. But we had prepared them, but we actually used them for real, so to say, in the offices.
Okay. Well, anyway, I think there's a really good best practice example of how to promote a platform as well. And yeah, great. Thank you so much for telling us about that.
Just one thing on that. Sorry, Matt.
That's right.
As you might hear, that we actually put a lot of effort into this. So this was not just sort of a little communications plan, but we really, really did a lot of time and effort and thinking behind this. So I recommend that too.
Yeah, like I say, I think it's something that sometimes is missed, and this is really, really great example of how to do that very well. Okay, so I think the time to show the platform now. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to stop sharing my screen, Laurie, and see if you can share your screen. And hopefully this will be really seamless.
I hope so too.
Thanks everyone for the moment. And if you do have more questions as well as we go now into the live demo, feel free to ask those in the chat. And as Laurie is presenting, I can actually look at the chat a little bit easier. So feel free to ask those questions and we can come to them as well. So thanks very much, Laurie.
You can see my screen right now?
You can see it. It looks beautiful. It says welcome.
Great. Okay. So this is what a participant sees when he enters the platform for the first time. He got, like Wendla said, he got a mail straight from Tata with the link in it. You're invited for this program. Take a look and feel free to subscribe. And what you see here is immediately also the team of Explore that they also recognize from the communication. And what happens right now, if I scroll, so now I'm just scrolling with my mouse and I'm going to the right, to the left. So this is already a first excitement thing for participants. If it's a little bit confusing, they can also just use the arrows and go to the next screen where they can find information. Here they see they're welcomed. I just took a test user here. It's not a real person, Charlotte Potter. It's just the test user that I use for demos. And they get the first information about what Explore is about and about the leadership development program. And if we go further, we here have a little video also, where they will immediately recognize people from Lowell themselves. So they will, it's a program from Lowell for Lowell. So it stays very recognizable also with the colors and the line. It's very Lowell branded. And then we go on and we get information about the cohort registration. So here, because we are in different languages, we are in different countries. So we also, or Lowell also wanted to support that in the cohorts. So there's some information about English and German cohorts. And then here you can see the way to sign up for the different cohorts. Now, I'm not going to do that for real because I'm also subscribed. But imagine that I pick a cohort, then I'm guided to my dashboard, and then you get here on this page. So what happens in this platform is you are guided from one point to the next, like in a real journey, and just so you can continue your learning journey all of the time. Here in the dashboard, you're asked to fill in some questions that we needed to know who are you, how long is your experience in a leadership position, to make sure that we can mix the cohorts and the learning teams later on. And what we see here is the first interactive assignment that they have to do. So what do you hope to get out of the program? And you get some answers. And if you click submit, you get also the answers of other people. And the bigger it's displayed, the more this answer is chosen by your peers. So that's how you can already see we are here with a lot of people. We are in a learning space, and we're all in here together. I'm scrolling again on the dashboard, and what I see here is the spider of that is already filled in, because I already filled it in, of the self-assessment. I'll come back to that in a minute, on the moment when the participant have to fill in the self-assessment. And here they also have a resume of their own action points that they fill in during the learning journey. So what happens is that they have exercises, they have the different capabilities, and at one point they're asked to write down the action points that they take away from that capability sprint. And on this page, they will have then all their action points from the whole journey on one page. And then here we will still share a testimonial of someone who did the journey. And after that, they are guided to the whole page. Oh no, I'm too fast. Just go back very quickly, because they're automatically guided to the Explore guidebook as they enter the platform for the first time. The Explore guidebook is the page where they can find all the practical information about the program. So what is this about? Why are we doing this? What are the definitions of the words that are used? For example, what is a quest, and how does a capability sprint look like? If, for example, the slide that we talked about before is also displayed here. So here it's all about the practical information and the support about the program itself. If you scroll down, you will also see the German version. There's the video of the Lowell Expo again. Some wordings, like I said, and this is already the first course that we use to give them all the support during the journey. And this is also what in the kickoff, in the first session that the participants get. This is also used in that session to make sure that the participants have everything that is used, like the leadership philosophy and so on and so forth. Some information about the capabilities, and a little video for how to use the platform effort to just make sure that people feel safe, they feel supported, they know what's expected, and they know what to do. A little video about how to use the Miro boards. And then we get to the self-assessment. I'll show you, if they enter this page for the first time, they will see it like this. So we have the statements, and we have a slider where people can just slide what their answer is. And if they go through all the statements, they get the spider like they saw before. And the idea here, I'll show again, is if you fill it in the first time, then you get the blue, the blue form, and you fill it in the second time at the end of the journey, you get the red one on top of it, and then you can see how you changed in terms of the 4 capabilities. Also if you fill it in the first time, you can see which capability you want to work more on, or you want to improve your own capability. And then you can also find your webinar links here, so it's very very easy to find everything that you need. And then we go to the homepage. So you see they're taken by hand from page to page through the learning journey. Here, very simple, the 4 capabilities are visualized, and we have to go and start with clarity. Cannot answer the other ones yet, because you have to finish this one first. And here you will see the horizons responding again, where you're taking on that journey to go through capabilities. Once I click here, I'm launching the module, and here you see the Theta course of clarity, which is filled with all the information that's talked about during the Clarity Lab and the full day session there. And it also has the variation of reflection and interactive exercises. For example, you have the video and carousel here with some information. If I scroll a little bit more, for example, here you can you are asked to fill in what are your 3 values. So you fill something in, 3 values. You can save your choice, and then it's also displayed what the other participants are answering the most. So you see that also here, after they had their lab, they can use this page to go through the information again to see, okay, what was it about? What do I need to do? And they can also see what are the required exercises they need to go through to make sure that they finished everything and have the information that they need. I'm gonna scroll a little bit down. There are also voluntary deep dives that go to other pages where you have the videos and extra information. And then I want to stop here, because here it says it's your turn. So here we talk about the quest that Wendela explained. So on the capability lab, they get all the information of create clarity and what does it mean for Lowell, for the organization. And they also get the assignment, and now you have to pick one quest and to execute this quest during the following 3 weeks in your day-to-day job. Here they can reread about those quests and what it's about, and they can choose one that they want to do. So here below, they can choose one. Imagine that the quest that you want to do isn't really in there, or you want to describe your own quest. That's also possible, as long as it's related to the capability. And what happens then is you go to your fellow explorers. So the lab is done. The people have chosen their quests. They're in their day-to-day jobs, and then they can learn and give feedback to their learning team, which is the little group that Wendela explained of 5 to 6 people. So if I click here, come to the page for my my learning team space, and every learning team has this page dedicated for their own. So it's only accessible for the 5 or 6 participants who are in that learning team. What you can see here is first information how to use this page, then the information of who is in your learning team, so you know who to reach out to, and who you will be working with on this page, and then information what it means. Here again, for people who forgot what the sprint looked like and what was expected, information what it means and what is expected from you. And then below you can see we're in the first capability. We have the link to the Miro board, and this is also embedded in Theta, so they can easily access it. And here you can, what they need to do in the quest is create a learning review of their quest, and it can be in any format. For example, it can be a little video they make from themselves, or a slide with some reflections, or an image or a photo, or it can be anything, but they just need to show how they did the quest and what they've learned from it. And they need to upload it here. So this is an upload functionality where they can drag and drop their files. And what they need to do then is take one of it. So here you will see from your learning team space, you will see the different files that were uploaded. And then you need to give feedback to each other. So then you will take a feedback form and give feedback to each other, and also leave it here so that everyone gives feedback to each other, and that they can also learn from each other in the learning team. And here it's very nice that the learning teams are, like Wendela said, are really mixed without it's people with different backgrounds, with different experiences. They really can learn from each other on this dedicated page. And here you can see then the action points that are only for the participant himself or herself, and then that they need to fill in, and that are displayed on the dashboard again. Last but not least, we ask them to nominate one. Every team has to nominate one of the proof of learnings of the quest and send it to the leadership at Lowell email address, and also explain why this is nominated as the best or the most creative or the best outcome proof of learning. And then those who are nominated, they are all, maybe not all, they are chosen to share with the whole community, the whole leadership community on the wall of fame, where they then best proof of learnings are shared. And then you're guided back to the Create Clarity page, because then at the end, you're still asked to complete some feedback on the course itself as well. And if you have done all of that, then you're ready to go to your next capability. And that's how the learning journey is completed.
Amazing. Thanks so much for sharing us that. I'm sure you're both feeling very proud of the platform that you've managed to build. We're getting quite a lot of questions coming in, and it may be that we can't answer them in lots of detail, but we might be able to answer them in some detail. One of the questions obviously is like that incredible feature of being able to make the platform scroll horizontally. Is that really a customization by Deloitte?
Yeah, indeed. That's where we have our developers in-house for.
So people asking, how could they make Taseria look like that? They can come and talk to you.
Yeah, feel free to reach out.
Okay, great. And just a simple question about the course format. I don't know if you know which course format is being used, or which page format.
It's the topic format.
Okay, thank you. And also the self-assessment tool. That was quite an interesting tool. How have you built that one?
That's also a custom developed tool that we wrote. So originally it was an activity that we made for Deloitte internally, and then we customized it also that it was usable for the self-assessment for Lowell.
Brilliant, thanks, Thor. And just in terms of out-of-the-box features, were there any some of the main features, even like, for example, grouping those users together just so they can see the one team page? Are you using audiences for that, just to have like 6 people, for example?
Yeah. So what happens is once the participants choose their cohort, that's where they are put into in an audience. And we wrote a query that if you're in an audience, a cohort audience, that you're also automatically put in a team audience. So we have cohort audiences and team audiences. And then right before the start of the program, Lowell took a look to the team audiences to make sure that the mixes were okay and to make sure that the teams were well organized. And that's just indeed with audiences.
Great, thanks, Laurie. And is there any other features that you'd like to highlight that were helpful for you as you're making this? I know obviously one of the big things of Deloitte especially is that your ability to customize and develop is incredible really as well. Like you're also able to do things that we haven't always seen before. So it's amazing to see the open source sort of nature of Taseria there, that you can develop things and change it and customize it. Yeah, but I was wondering if there's any other features you'd like to call out or that were particularly helpful, maybe assessment or...
Good question. Yeah, I personally, I also really like the carousel feature, where you can just have an image, like, and that you can just you create your content in slides, and it, like for example here, that you can you have more possibilities in terms of layout and make it attractive. And then you have your slides here, and it's not just a boring PowerPoint, but because it's embedded in the course, and you can really do a lot with it this way as well.
Thanks, Laurie. And also just another question from Zara asking about when users have to upload some evidence or their feedback on the quest, is that using the assignments activity?
That's a good question. I think it's based on the assignments activity, but it's a bit customized as well, because we added some ratings and some user experience improvement as well.
Yeah, so it's based on it, but you could do, and also like if you wanted to do something like that in Toto, if you wanted just to upload activities, then you could use the assignments activity as suggested there. And Wendella, I know you've been looking sort of proudly at the platform. Is there anything you wanted to add about the whole platform or the whole experience of working with Deloitte and working with Toto and making this come alive?
Yeah, I just think it's first of all, I think we have had this great collaboration, and I feel like Deloitte has really been listening to us, and they have done the best they could from Tutara. And I think the Tutara platform has really been great, because I feel like we have got something that is really ours. It's not just sort of a general sort of look and feel, but this is Lowell. So I think it's both thanks to Deloitte, of course, who listened to us what we needed, but also the platform itself then obviously that has these kind of features and so on. So yeah, I feel, and I think that was also sort of something that we didn't have a good experience from before working with leadership development programs, that it felt so generic. So they're also not another program that is sort of like you can find anywhere else. So but this really made it to become special for us.
Yeah, we then also have the community that we're creating right now as a follow-up on this one.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we are maybe we can just share that we are continuing to develop Tutara. So first of all, we just had the Explore program, but now we have decided to continue to work with Tutara as our leadership development hub. So now Deloitte has helped us to create a landing page, which will be, as a leader, you go in, and from this page you will find all the different sort of initiatives that we have when it comes to leadership development. And so we finished that in 1 week, I think 2 weeks time before Christmas. We have that landing page ready, and then we will continue now. I think I mentioned that in the beginning, to launch a new as a leader program that we start to create ourselves on the platform. Hopefully we will manage ourselves this time.
Sure.
Well, thanks so much for today. I mean, like I say, I want to congratulate you both on creating such a beautiful Taseria platform, but also like the instructional design behind it, the thought behind it, to create something that's engaging and impactful, and also, like you say, to get the results that you're getting Mandela across the business is great to see. So yeah, just thank you so much to both of you for coming today and telling the Taseria community about your story. I'd love to invite you back in a year or so and see where it's going and see what's happening next. I'm sure this project will continue to develop, and I'm not sure how you can make it better, but I'm sure you'll find a way. So I'd love to see it again in the future. And thanks to everyone who's stayed on today and has added this. Just one last question, Stuart, saying, I presume compliance reports and evaluation reports can be generated on the platform as well. And I suppose, do you do that a lot as well, create reports?
Yeah, we have several reports in there.
Okay, so thanks very much to everyone who's come today, and we'll finish there for today. But if you do have further questions, this space will be in the customer stories space in the Taseria community on the webinars on demand. So you can tag Laurie or Wendella as well if you have further questions, and then we can come back to you at some point. But Wendella is off. I hear on good authority they're going to Australia for a good holiday soon. So yeah, well, have a great trip, and I hope everyone else has a good break as well if you're about to have holidays soon. So thanks very much, Laurie, and thank
you very much for having us and everyone that wanted to listen. So thank you.
Thanks, Wendy, for having us.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Laurie. Thanks, everyone. We'll finish there.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.